Key bullet points summary My Lady in Love's Chariot by Ben Jonson. The poem celebrates the beauty and charm of the poet's beloved lady, Clarisse. The lady is imagined riding in love's chariot, symbolizing her power over lovers and admiration from everyone. The chariot is drawn by swans and doves, which represent purity, grace, and love. As she passes, all hearts admire and obey her beauty, showing her irresistible attraction. People are so enchanted by her that they would follow her anywhere, even through danger. The poet praises her radiant eyes, which illuminate the whole world of love. Her hair shines like a rising star, symbolizing brightness and divine beauty. Her smooth forehead and graceful eyebrows enhance the elegance of her face. The poet uses comparisons from nature, lily, snow, swan's down, honey, fragrance, to describe her purity and softness. These natural images emphasize that her beauty is pure, gentle, and untouched. The poem ends by declaring that she is extremely white, soft, and sweet, highlighting her idealized beauty. Sonnet 18, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, by William Shakespeare. Key bullet points summary. The poet begins by asking whether he should compare his beloved to a summer's day. He concludes that the beloved is more beautiful and more gentle than summer. Summer is imperfect because rough winds damage the flowers of May. The summer season is short, so its beauty does not last long. Sometimes the sun shines too hot, and sometimes it becomes dim. All beautiful things in nature eventually lose their beauty due to time or natural change. In contrast, the poet says the beloved's eternal summer will never fade. The beloved's beauty will not be destroyed by death. This immortality is possible because the poet has captured the beloved's beauty in poetry. As long as people read the poem, the beloved will live forever through the poet's words. Central idea. The poem expresses the idea that poetry can make beauty immortal, preserving the beloved's charm forever. Remembrance, Sonnet 30, Went to the Sessions of Sweet Silent Thought, by William Shakespeare. Key bullet points summary. The poet reflects quietly on memories of the past during moments of deep thought. While remembering past events, he feels sorrow for things he failed to achieve. He mourns the loss of precious friends who have died. The poet also remembers past love and emotional pain, which makes him cry again. He counts his past sufferings like a sad account of grief and loss. These memories make him feel as if he is paying again for sorrows that were already suffered. The poem expresses the pain of memory and regret over lost opportunities and relationships. However, in the final couplet, the poet remembers his dear friend. Thinking about this friend comforts him and removes all sorrow. Thus, friendship becomes a source of emotional healing and happiness. Central idea. The poem shows how memories of past losses bring sadness, but the thought of a true friend can restore hope and comfort. The Good Morrow by Donne. Key bullet points summary. The poet begins by wondering what he and his beloved did before they fell in love. He suggests that their earlier life was childish and incomplete, like immature pleasures. All past attractions and beauties were only dreams compared to their true love. With the beginning of their love, their souls awaken to a new and meaningful life. Their love is so strong that they no longer fear separation or jealousy. The lovers feel that their small room becomes an entire world because of their love. The poet compares their relationship to new geographical discoveries, suggesting that their love is a new world. Each lover becomes a complete world for the other, creating unity and harmony. Their faces reflected in each other's eyes symbolize deep emotional connection and honesty. The poet compares their love to two perfect hemispheres, balanced and harmonious. Since their love is equal and perfectly balanced, it will never fade or die. Central idea. The poem celebrates true, mature, and spiritual love, suggesting that when two souls unite completely, their love becomes perfect, balanced, and eternal. The Pulley, The Gifts of God, by George Herbert. Key bullet points summary. The poem describes how God created human beings and planned to give them many blessings. God had a glass full of blessings, which symbolically represents divine gifts. He poured various gifts on humans such as strength, beauty, wisdom, honor, and pleasure. However, one blessing, rest, remained at the bottom of the glass. God intentionally withheld the gift of rest from humans. The reason was that if humans had complete rest and comfort, they might forget God and become satisfied only with worldly pleasures. Without rest, humans experience restlessness and dissatisfaction in life. This restlessness pushes them to seek spiritual peace and turn toward God. Even if people do not follow goodness directly, their weariness will eventually lead them back to God. Central idea. The poem conveys that human restlessness is part of God's design, meant to guide people away from worldly attachment and towards spiritual connection with God. Key bullet points summary. Book eye-opening. The epic begins with the theme of man's first disobedience, referring to the sin of Adam and Eve in eating the forbidden fruit. Their disobedience brought death, suffering, and the loss of Eden to humanity. The poet invokes the heavenly muse for inspiration to tell this great story. John Milton states that his aim is to justify the ways of God to men, meaning he wants to explain why God allowed evil and suffering. The poem describes how Satan led a rebellion against God in heaven. Because of pride and ambition, Satan tried to challenge God's authority and become equal to him. God defeated Satan and the rebel angels and cast them out of heaven into hell. Satan and his followers fall into a terrible fiery hell, described as a dark and dreadful prison. Even though hell is full of flames, it produces darkness visible, meaning suffering without hope. Satan sees his companion Beelzebub, one of the chief rebel angels. Satan expresses pride and defiance, refusing to submit to God despite defeat. He declares that all is not lost, because they still have their will, courage, and desire for revenge. Satan decides to continue the struggle against God by force or cunning. Central idea of the passage, the opening of Paradise Lost, introduces the fall of Satan, the origin of evil, and the epic theme of humanity's fall, while also presenting Satan's pride, rebellion, and determination to oppose God.